In a world where it feels like AI is taking over everything and is often resulting in designs that can only be classified as AI slop, I have leaned into keeping things really simple when it comes to using AI as part of my design process. I use AI in probably close to 90% of my designs, but the majority of that is not in the traditional way that you might assume, where I'm starting from scratch every time or creating a full elaborate design entirely with AI. So for this video, I'll show you the two main design tools that I use every day and how I'm using them for my actual product designs. As we go, I'd love to hear if you're using them too, or if you have other favorite AI design tools that you're obsessed with. So drop them in the comments and let me know. In case we haven't met yet, my name is Mandy. Think of me as kind of like your big sister in business who is fully obsessed with being an Etsy print-on-demand seller. In real life, I'm a busy boy mom and actively run multiple successful Etsy shops myself, but I am also on a mission to help creative entrepreneurs like you feel confident with designing, identifying profitable niches, and growing a successful business so that your products get seen, loved, and sold without inventory and without the overwhelm. First, we're going to start in Canva. For context, I've been a Canva user since 2017. Long before it had any cool bells and whistles, and when AI was mostly still just in movies. Pretty much most of my creative world and digital assets live right here in Canva. Now, I want to preface this by saying I personally don't use Canva to generate from actual AI prompts because I find that the result is just not as good as most of the other image models like ChatGPT or Nano Banana. But when it comes to AI specifically for designing in Canva, there is one function in particular that I literally use daily, and that is the copy style button. That's it. One little button. Often we think of AI as generating something entirely new, but really AI can help us transform something that already exists. For example, I like to design in Canva because there are lots of elements to choose from, more than most other platforms. So when I'm searching for things like coastal, I can pull from a lot of different options that are there. But sometimes the designs that I like or the elements that I want to include aren't necessarily all in the same style, or I can search and find something close and maybe not exactly what I'm looking for. So instead of scrolling through literally a million options to try and find a specific style that may or may not be there, I simply find the style that I like or are wanting to use. Let's say I want all of this to be more of kind of that outline or doodle style. And then I come up here and click on copy style. Now, don't use the basic style. I use that just for copying like text formatting. You want the one that has the Canva colors and a little sparkle next to it. And when we click on that, that gives us our little paintbrush. And then I'm simply going to select everything else that I want to change. And then it's going to use its Canva AI to go through and reformat and change the style on all the other elements. And just like that, with one click, we have all of our design elements formatted to look like this original one that we wanted. And if it's part of the design, I'll usually just slide it right back in where it needs to be. Now, because Canva used AI to generate this, that means that these are no longer vector images that you can simply change the color on, even though this original one might have been. So just my extra little trick here that I like to use is an app that's actually part of Canva. And so for that, I'm going to go over to apps. And if you type in vectorizer, there's a few different ones, but I like the one that's specifically vectorizer and has a little metal looking V on it. And I like to choose that one. And I'm going to click on one of the elements. And then if I'm using a doodle design like this, where it's just a line outline, I use the black white option and then click on start tracer. And that's just going to convert it to a vector, and I add it to design. Now, notice that it's using a few credits. It is, in this case, a third-party app. So you usually get some free credits with it. But if you need more, you can buy more directly from the app provider. If you're just using black and white, like I said, it's only taking a couple credits each. I personally find this particular app in Canva worth it because it's super easy and I never have to leave Canva to make that conversion. So it's just fast and practical. And so then once I have that, I can simply swap that out, replace the one that was there, and now I can choose the color that I want to match the rest of it. And then I could repeat that for each of them. Sometimes like this, the color is close enough, so you may not need to, but if you want the color to be exact, or if you want to be able to change it to a different color, converting it to a vector right inside Canva is the easiest way to go. If you want to see some of the other design tricks that I do frequently use in Canva, not necessarily every day, but frequently enough, I'll link that video for you. But this copy style is literally one that I use by far the most. Again, it's using AI just in a slightly different way. Next is Kittle. I've been using Kittle since somewhere in the neighborhood of 2022 or 2023. This is where I do 99% of my actual AI image generation. They have lots of templates that I use those too, but this is my go-to for actually generating from AI prompts and doing other things with AI. One of the things that I share frequently in my AI BizBot group is design prompts. So when I'm testing those, when I'm generating them, I come here and I do the same with my own designs as well. So whether I'm putting in my own prompt for a design or using one that I've created with the help of one of my custom GPTs that I built for my community members, I'm doing all of that here. Largely because, as you can see from all of the different options that I've used over time, there are different image generators that you have access to inside Kittle without having to go to other platforms or sign up for other subscriptions. It all happens right here in Kittle. And depending on the design or the prompt itself, this can be helpful in situations where different models, as you can see, will sometimes give very different results. So this allows me to try a couple different ways to see which one fits my image the best. My go-tos are typically ChatGPT or Nano Banana 2, which is now available, but again, it can vary depending on the design style. But outside of that, the number one way that I'm using AI for my designs and why I use Kittle specifically is for creating image board flows. Because in this scenario, we're not just generating designs, we're not necessarily just changing the styles, we are multiplying them. For example, this is how I scale designs. So if I have a particular design style or a theme or a niche that's working really well, I can come to Kittle, I can create a new AI image board, and then I can describe the change that I want to see. So for example, if I want to change it to a football bear, I can change the jersey color, I can change the jersey number, I can change what the bear is holding, all while still retaining the original piece of the design that I want to keep. Again, especially if this is a design style that's selling really well or getting good engagement with my listings. Maybe I'm getting a lot of favorites and I want to scale different hobbies, different professions. I can change small little details. Like I said, jersey number perhaps, or for personalization for a customer, if they want a jersey or a hat or some small detail in another color or in a different style. I use this all the time to be able to say yes to a lot of different requests that I wouldn't otherwise be able to without having to spend a lot of time regenerating or hoping that it's going to match the original style. This works even if you have multiple design elements or a specific theme. So maybe you have thrifting raccoons and you want to change them to knitting or crocheting raccoons. You can do that just by telling the AI exactly what you want it to do. So again, in cases where I'm using image generation to create a new version of something or have an existing theme and concept that I want to scale, I go to Kittle and specifically use this flows process to scale designs much more effectively and efficiently. Perfect for designs that you've generated yourself and just want to make changes. It's great for taking an existing template inside Kittle and maybe changing the theme or the color scheme, or even design elements you've gotten from Creative Fabrica. You can use flows to make all sorts of changes and make your own unique twists on it and then scale them from there. Now, while those are the two tools I use daily, if we zoom out for a second, you'll notice a pattern in everything that I just showed you as part of my design process. AI isn't the whole design. It's just part of it. Sometimes bigger, sometimes smaller, sometimes fully generated by me, and sometimes adapted from something that already exists. But I'm almost never relying on it to do everything. Now, to be clear, there's nothing wrong with generating an entire design with AI. And occasionally I will do that too. And I've certainly seen plenty of really amazing designs come entirely from AI. But over time, I also started noticing two things. Either I was spending more time fixing AI designs than creating them, or they just looked like AI. And it's arguably becoming really easy to spot nowadays, both as a seller and as a consumer. I also personally like to have complete control over the text and fonts that I'm using. So leaving that out of the AI image generation process just makes things easier. Instead, I use AI as a piece of my design, and I'm combining it with other non-AI elements to support it. Ultimately, my goal isn't to use more AI just because I can, or to avoid it entirely. And it's certainly not to use it to simply copy other people's designs or contribute to the mounting AI slop that's already out there. It's to use it intentionally while still staying in control of my design process. If you want help with what to design, how to identify profitable niches, and how to actually turn these into products that sell, I've got a couple options for you depending on where you're at. If you're just getting started, I'll link my Seen, Loved, and Sold series along with my 30-day growth guide video below. They're entirely free and right here on my channel. If you're ready to access just trends and templates, check out Pod Essentials. And if you want everything all in one place, including the full strategy, coaching calls, a supportive community, and access to my custom GPT tools, that's inside Simply Thrive. In the meantime, I hope this was helpful for you as you continue growing your Etsy shop. As always, stay focused, my friends. Keep taking action and never stop pursuing excellence in your business. Thanks for watching. I'm so glad you're here, and I'll see you in the next one.